Yeah, so here we go again. It's just past 4 p.m. I managed to get out of bed like an hour and a half ago. Been awake since like 10. But it's just all the time I spend in bed in the mornings is like autistic. In the past I've called it autistic dysfunction, but I don't think I like that term because it implies autistic being non-normal. Or not operating normally due to autism, which is fine, I guess. I've driven into town, got a good parking spot, as in an area that's free of charge, where one can legally park, which is what I've done. I'm a bit early in town for the things I've got to do in town, but that's to give me time for this, so yay, managed something. Beyond that, I do aim to visit the now friend that is in hospital. Even post-inflation I would not have thought of as a friend before this incident. But that's in the evening because they got like program over day. When it's already dark, it's when that is. So I'm actually going to spend like a couple hours in a tea house. I can't really afford it. I mean, I can't afford to drive into town by car. But I also can't function with public transport right now. And I can't really afford to park all around town because I can't afford the parking fees. So that's why I'm parked here. And again, I can't really afford to burn the diesel, so I shouldn't be driving into town by car. I should just be staying in my flat and not leaving it. But hey, apparently one have got to get out and about. I am not the slightest closer to handing in my applications for internships. That first place ghosting me kind of real bummed me out. Like, I was optimistic and I managed to get the application for them sorted within a week. And since then, well, since I've acknowledged them as ghosting me, it's been 3 weeks, 4 maybe, and I keep saying I should, and I have like multiple people who are going to look over my applications and not proofread them because they don't care about the letters or the contents. What they're going to do is like structure, etc. Look them over, I guess is the term. But for them to be able to look over it, I need to actually get stuff done. And I haven't done nothing. I mean, apparently because I am in a creative field, people expect me to design my curriculum to some degree, which I find a fucking joke because it's there so you know what I've done. It's not there so I can show I can also do illustration or graphic design. It's not my field. I'm applying for physical field, man. Film physical field, like on location shooting. Or in a warehouse physical, but I'm not applying for design. Speed limit here is 30, car just drove by with more than 60. Surprise, welcome to town. I guess the only good news about me not managing to get out of bed in the morning, or even noon, because I've been smoking way less. Like my current average is, if I had to guess, about 22, which is like 4 lower than it was before. Yesterday I did manage to go to the weekly pub meetup. Had primarily hard alcohol and left early because there weren't much to talk, and the one person I knew well and who was leaving had left. Like, they're leaving for Vienna because Berlin didn't work out for them. One reason presumably why Berlin did not work out for them is their relationship didn't work out and they presumably just want new space. I fully understand why it didn't work out. But in the end of the day, it's not like I can change that. It's just the way it is. They're actually shooting a film down the road. well, some kind of film, commercial, who knows what, big production though. Instead of sandbags for the combination stands, they're using water bags, which is like a real good idea because you don't have to lug around all the weight. Once you have several combination stands, that saves you like half a vehicle of haulage mass, so that makes a lot of sense. Just get water out hydrants and use that for weight. The only problem is it's way easier to drop by accident. Like someone poke it with some points while walking through by accident, C-stand, whatever. Especially one for outside, I guess. You have a major leak and you need to worry about your leak or your lights falling over, or butterflies or whatever they got on them. I didn't look too much because I was driving. Oddly enough, where I'm parked now is not too far from the hospital where I'll be visiting a friend tonight, so I guess it's at least minimising public transport necessity. Like from here to the T-joint is about half an hour, and then back is another half hour. But I think I can just about manage an hour in a day, especially with noise cancelling headphones and shades and shit. But like, there's not a way of functioning permanently. I'm now basically down to 5 months to have my 4 months of internship in. I might have to do some internship at the beginning of next semester, but I don't think I'm gonna miss nothing because for the first month they ain't doing nothing anyways. So I'm still not too fussed about it, but I would kind of like to get this degree once I'm done, for which I do need the internships. And for me, the internships aren't really about getting the degree. For me, they're about getting someone who's might be willing to hire me once I have a degree. I mean, it's a bachelor's degree, so it's better than no degree, but it's not much better. I mean, it's an apprenticeship completed, a fellowship, is basically worth just as much. And you need 2 years less of school before you can do that, and it takes the same amount of time, so I should have perhaps done an apprenticeship / fellowship, whatever you want to call it. But hey, you can't change it. Plus I like the idea of staying in education longer and not having to work, which I do still like. Problem is that longer is about to run out, at which point I got to work to pay rent. And with going through stages of grief and so on, I believe I may very well have already accepted the fact that I may have to move back in with my mother. Hi, Mum. Like, I don't want to. I'm fairly confident they prefer it if I were not to, but I'm also confident the offer will be up. At the end of the day, if I don't have no other options because I can't pay rent, I am going to have to. No choice. Which is why I haven't considered even switching internet providers or electricity providers, even though I could get a new contract like mid next month, because my old contract ran out, so I can quit with 1 month's notice. And for the first 2 years they're significantly cheaper, like save $15 a month. Like, that's the best part of a Netflix subscription. Plus, with ISPs, it does also tend to go down performance-wise after them 2 years. So I guess I'll find out. I haven't showered since Monday. It's now Wednesday, so I guess it's still within the societally acceptable norms. But tomorrow I'm going to have to shower, which is fine, I guess. I'll figure it out. I still haven't folded up my laundry, which I did like Saturday and Sunday. But I haven't taken it out of the machine or folded it up. Just taken out what I needed, shirt and some pants. I did expand my trouser button hole. Like stitch on another trouser button hole so I can actually close them, because I may have ordered these a bit too small. The size above was slightly too large, this size is slightly too small. It's fucking horrendous, but guess that's what you do in a standardised society. You got to be neurotypical and fit normal trousers and all. if I could be bothered, I'd probably actually tailor these to fit me, but I don't think I've got that energy. Like, I don't got the energy to get out of bed in the morning. So I think that's rather optimistic, saying I'd be able to stitch my trouser hole. Well, my entire trousers. But at least they ain't got a hole down in the crotch, so that's something. I guess that's the normal way, back to the tangent at hand. I guess applications is a normal way people get jobs and internships and stuff. And in the past, I've just had the privilege of not having to worry about that. Then again, I do still have one major benefit, which I don't know if it's a privilege, I think it's more of a skill, can be trained, because I certainly don't have it by nature, which is being likeable for people. Simply by being empathetic. I mean, if you understand how someone's doing, you understand why they do it, you can show that. And they'll like you better for it, apparently. That does hit one stark contrast, though, which is something that is non-negotiable for me, which is the aspect of rule following. Like, down the road there was a 20 speed limit. I did 19 kilometers an hour because I can't risk going 21. Well, theoretically, my personal tolerance is up to 22. At 23, I either hit the brakes or step off the gas. But, like, I wanted some leeway in power in case cyclists come. Because oddly enough, just after that 20 speed limit, the cyclists cut off a pedestrian at a crosswalk. And they are legally just as supposed to stop as I am. And they really cut them off. Like, the pedestrian had 1 foot in the road. The cyclist was within a foot of them, torso-wise. Which is nice. Then again, some people don't think about shit like that. And especially cyclists, I guess, because they don't need a licence, so they might not know the rules of the road. Tomorrow I got 2 appointments with friends at the tea joint, because shutting for good after Saturday. Like, it'll still be a tea shop for another month, but it won't be a tea house no more. And I put those appointments with friends in the calendar, so I'm a meet those appointments, like I'm a manage, because they're in the calendar and the tea joint's shutting. So that's like motivation to get up. Then again, that means tomorrow will be another day in which I won't have been productive, leaving only Friday this week, and Saturday, I guess, perhaps, to actually work on applications and shit. Because Sunday is film club anyways, and film club is growing myself career-wise as well. I like the people. They like me. And is doing what I like. But I might have to give up on that if I move back. Like, I'm really not looking forward to that being an option, but it is. To the point where I'm legitimately considering applying for one internship position out of the 4 months I got to do, applying for 1 month back in the home country, just so I got a plan B in case I do get my degree but I can't get a job. Because then I'll have some connections back home in the industry. That's actually a real good title. I like the industry as a title for works, I guess. Crazy thing is, one could be talking about many in the industry. It's just because tunnel vision that, for me, the industry mean film. All the way from advertising to features. Even social media, I'd say. like a lot of today's social media appears to be what Monty Python did back then, like John Cleese, etc. Their skits were fairly short, and I mean, okay, something like, as I talked about John Cleese, I might as well elaborate on that. Like Fawlty Towers, it's a show, a TV show, which is like long enough episodes to be on TV, so that wouldn't be a social media format besides maybe YouTube. But one episode just consists of a lot of skits lined up in row, with one big joke surrounding them all. Joke is with political correctness. I don't think one would be able to make something like that anymore today. Like one joke idea I got for a skit, but it's not worth doing because like too short to publish in any of the ways I publish, would be an arms race, literally. Like arms racing. It's not that much work. Just need to maybe paint some skin or tape some shirts. Roto the arm out of that, which is easy enough because the arm is a different colour to whatever shirt I can give actors, and have an arms race go on. But it's like too short form joke, like an arms race, 2 seconds of, well, I guess you could make it 10 seconds, like 2 or 3 seconds starting line positioning, then racing, and then one crossing the finish line. There's like no more than 20 seconds, realistically. Which, I mean, is not viable for what I do. I mean, I do this, which is YouTube, but I do this for myself. I don't do this for film work. I upload film works on YouTube sometime, but I'm also working on Working Title Smoke and Mirrors, for which I really need to figure out how the musician and the sound designer, audio designer, would like to be credited, because I do plan on delivering them the full visuals and they can just add the audio, like including title cards and credits. On a day like today, with mostly blue sky and some faint clouds, I should really be out in the field with a camera shooting the sky, because clouds are also in the realm of fluid dynamics, which is what I said I'd focus on with my working title Smoke and Mirrors. Primarily smoke, but not exclusively. And I might still shoot, like, I might do a second shoot in my bathroom, just because I guess I can. I kind of got them. Like, I got a solid 3 hours worth of footage, but considering I plan on heavily compositing it, it's going to end up less than 20 minutes once I've kicked out all the stuff I don't want. And realistically, I'll be aiming for 20 minutes runtime. There will be some complete CG as well, just because I can. But I'm still aiming for it to be real film, augmented by CG, not a CG film. Which is what a lot of modern films appear to be, CG films. And I don't mind them, but I ain't got the capability for doing that much work until like New Year's. So yeah, that's something I've got to sort out. Got to ask them how they'd like to be credited. And for now, I'm looking at a linear workflow, like in runtime, of the compositing, that is. Computer's preparing footage right now back home, have been for the past 14 days. Like, first off, normalizing the exposure values, because I did not utilize the entire range of the camera. So remapping values, I guess. Then denoising them, which is both on the individual PNGs, on PNG sequences, which is like a lot of compute, considering they're 4K DCI, 16-bit PNGs with RGB. That's like a lot of calculations per image. I might just go ahead and take a screenshot. I think I'm just going to do my eye today. There we go. Thank you to the one person who's still watching this, by the way. I appreciate it very much so. Like, if you comment, I'll respond, man. Man being a genuine term for any person. Person being defined as anything that can identify as a person. With which articulating such being a person is not a necessity. Which means, as far as I'm concerned, a car could be a person, because how would I know? It might identify. Yeah, I'm really sad about the T-John Chapman. Good news is, well, bad and good news. Bad news is it was my mental safe space. Place of worship almost for my spirituality, whatever you might call it. Good news is I would not have been able to sustain the frequency I've been visiting it with. Like, even am still now. Like, I was there, 2 days ago? I'll be there today, I'll be there tomorrow, I'll be there Saturday. That's like something I can't afford even much longer. So I guess that's good news for my wallet and my being economically viable. Bad news for my spirituality and sanity. And presumably my mental health, but I'll figure that out. Cross that bridge when we get there. Like, I might just set up a small space, which is not much work to set up in my flat. Like, just in the open space in my flat. Living space, what I use for VR gaming. Just sit on the floor with a cushion and do tea ceremony there. Problem is I won't have the cake, and I won't have the company of the owner of the tea shop, which is like something I'm rather bothered by, because that was more than half the reason I keep going there. I mean, I like the tea. If I just got the tea and no conversations with them, I probably wouldn't pay even half the money for the tea. My face is blown out if I do this. Not anymore. The nerd coming out. There is no closet that can contain my nerdiness. I ain't got to come out as the nerd, man. Yeah, but I believe it's fair to say I'm more than slightly concerned for my future, assuming I have a future. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I bought a 3/8 drive ratchet. And the price I bought it for was very viable for the ratchet. The problem is I imported it, which was not so viable with international shipping. But that, much as the Slit / Posi Drive / Philips bits, is a testament of me planning to live, I guess. Like, the ratchet's more than double my age, the one I bought, 3/8 drive. But I bought the ratchet itself for £9 sterling. Problem was, it was pound sterling, which means it was outside of EU. But I'm real happy with that. Like, it's a prime quality example. And it's of the same series as the 1/2-inch ratchet I'd had before. I'd inherited from my dad. Thing is, my dad, as many of that type, have a F handle. Like, the handle is no longer viable. Good news is, with the one I bought now, I got all I need for a model of the handle, which means I should be able to have it 3D printed with like TPU also. Then again, I'm not into 3D printing, I don't know. But I believe so, fingers crossed down the direct, one day. when I get around to it. Like, realistically, I'll need disability retirement, man, to keep going. Even if I get a job. I mean, I fucking love working. Like, I physically love it, but I don't want to do all the bureaucracy that's around it. I'd rather just show up somewhere and work for free. Or show up somewhere and help some people. And I mean, there is plenty of people and help. Problem is everything else strings attached to it. And I'm just making excuses, I guess. Because that woman that approached me on Sunday morning saying, "You have a cigarette?" I did not help. Like, I'm sure she would have been happy to talk, but I didn't. Which is just testament to me making excuses. New topic, different tangent. I have actually been considering shaving all of my head. Just because this hair is so much maintenance. Like, I like showering. I like being in the shower. It's just, it cut out like showering and taking care of the hair after and so on. Take 3/4 an hour out of the day, and I only got like 8-hour days. Before it's like bedtime, and then I go to sleep. Well, try and go to sleep, go to bed, try to sleep and fail horrendously because I've only been awake for 8 hours. Up, not awake, but still. Like 3/4 an hour is a decent chunk of that. Ironically, 3:30 seconds, which is an imperial inch standard. Like, I know 3:16 is number 10 fastness. 3:30 seconds is probably number 2 or so, but I wouldn't know. Like, I got the charts to look it up, but I ain't gonna. I could fucking look it up on this computer in a moment, but I'm not fussed about it enough. Yeah, I'm a managed public transport with shades and fingers in my ears. I can do it. New topic. I used to think I'd made it by coming to the city and leaving the countryside, and that I'd perhaps go back to the countryside like later in life once I'm set up. Now that I'm acknowledging the fact that I won't be set up in life, I actually miss the countryside and dread the city. Like, a motor vehicle is not economically viable here because most places cost an arm and a leg to park it. But I can't do public transport with all those people and the risk of interactions. Like, no. Like, yeah, okay, I can do if I'm like under influence of alcohol or so, but becoming a chronic alcoholic is not a viable option for like being able to live in a city. I'd rather live in the countryside. Oh wow, yeah, my face is really blown out if I like come forward now. No. They do blow out real good, like you can see it's only 8-bit colour. And like .mof container, but H.264 codec. Actually, Apple might use 265, I wouldn't know. I haven't looked it up. I'm just guessing ballparks. There's a game of probabilities in the end of the day. Well, anyways, I hope you get more done than I do. I'm gonna sign off here. Stay safe. Cheerio.